Hey, what's up, ladies and gentlemen? It's Timothy here. We are doing another hour of Devastation draft because this set is awesome. We opened a Mythic. Unfortunately, I don't think this card's particularly playable. It's an X spell, and for whatever X is, you get to search up that many creatures with different names with that mana cost. So if I pay like 3 for X, I get to search up 3/3/3s, which sounds like it might actually just be playable, but you have to build your entire deck around it. I'm more interested in some of the other cards here. I like Aerial Guide and I like Farm to Market. This isn't like a card you're super ecstatic to first pick. It's a card that you're really happy to get once you know you're white, and Market's just a bonus, so you don't have to be white-blue necessarily. But overall, I think this pack's kind of weak. Might be Bitter Bow, Sharpshooters, Aerial Guide, Farm to Market. But I've noticed that I don't get a lot of removal. Most of the removal in this set is good enough that you would pick it within the first 2 to 3 picks. So you don't get a lot of late removal. I'm going to start with Farm to Market, even though I have a preference towards Aerial Guide, and I would like to try out this Mythic. And honestly, I could do that as a first pick, but I'm not super excited about that. So this pack, Refuse to Cooperate, is another kind of sketchy Aftermath card. We have looks like a lot of good aggressive cards. We have Burning Fist Minotaur, Resolute Survivors, Kenra Scrapper, Torment of Venom. And if I took that Uncaged Imagery, I'd be taking like Harrier Naga here. So these two are very good. I started off with a white card, but I'm not tied to that. And I do think Resolute Survivors is better than both of the other mono-red creatures, but I don't know for sure I'm going to be white-red yet. I'm going to lean towards Burning Fist Minotaur, even though Scrapper, I think these two cards are probably on the same power level. But Minotaur having First Strike is pretty sweet here. Kenra Scrapper is a very solid card, but this pack's pretty stacked. There's a good chance I get either 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. One of these 5 cards back, but I am going to take just the solid card here. And again, we'll leave ourselves open. Now, another Resolute Survivors has me curious. Also, there's Appeal to Authority, which I staked a claim for in my last video, that this card is absolutely busted if you have a creature deck. There's also Ramunap Ruins. I could take this. I think Survivors is better enough than these two. I did start off with a white and red card, so maybe having another white-red card is where I want to be, even though it seems silly after passing that previous Resolute Survivors. We might get that back. I doubt it, but we might get it back. I don't really want to force myself into 2 colors this early, because I think the best way to draft this format in particular, even though it's just solid advice in general, is to really figure out what colors are open and stick to them, because you get rewarded very heavily in the 3rd pack if you do so. This would be a safer pick, but I'm actually going to take Resolute Survivors here and hope to draft red-white. Wow, another one. Insanity. Here I am between Blur of Blades, Desert of the Fervent. I think I'm going to get one of that first Blur of Blades back. They're just solid red cards in that pack. Mummy Paramount and the Wall. And again, Appeal to Authority is something I could play, but don't necessarily have to. There's also Hoopo here, which is whatever. Hoopy, Hoopo, Hoopu. I think it's Hoopu. I think I'm going to take a Desert here, honestly. Well, maybe a 2-drop's just what I want. I wish like one of these was Catcher's Avenger. I would take that in a heartbeat here. But looking at the pack, it's not really clear that like anything else is open, so I'm reasonably happy with these. Appeal to Authority is good. Yeah, I'll take Mummy Paramount. No, I'll take the Desert, actually. Can get 2-drops if I need them for the most part. Okay, so red's looking pretty open. That's nice. We have a Kenra Scrapper and we have Vizier of the True, both of which are pretty strong cards. There's also Michael Ceradon, which I like, and then some last pick cards here. Also seeing 3 black zombies in this pack, which is something to note. I do think Vizier of the True is better than Kenra Scrapper. This card can really push in a game in the late game. Whenever you exert any creature, you tap a creature your opponent controls. It's got kind of a small body, so it can die very easily, but it's nice that if you have other exert creatures already on the board, and then you play this, you can start exerting your other creatures and get immediate value off of it. So it looks like we're leaning towards red-white exert here. I love Magmaroth. This card's really grown on me. At first, I really only played it in red-blue decks, and it was good, but I played it in red-white before. I played it in red-black, and as long as you have like a couple spells in your deck, it shouldn't die that often. We could also take Active Heroism because it goes with these two picks very nicely, but I like Magmaroth as just a big chunky beater here. Here, just nothing I'm interested in. Take the 2-drop over the pretty weak 4-drop, even though Firebrand Archer is not a card I particularly like, so we'll look to cut it. Another Mummy Paramount. Oh, we didn't take the first Mummy Paramount. We took Vizier over that. No, we took the Desert over that. So I'm between Mummy Paramount and Solitary Camel, and I think I'd just rather have the 2-drop here, even though I don't think it's going to be too relevant in this deck. We have no zombies. Maybe I just want Solitary Camel, but I think we're going to go Mummy Paramount. Another Bone Slasher. That card's good. All right, Kindled Fury is a card I actually like to play in this format. I don't think I've ever played it in any other format, but I'm happy to play one because you get into fights a lot. We did get that Blur Blades back. We got refused to cooperate, which is just basically a direct damage burn spell. Not a huge fan. Between Blur Blades and Mummy Paramount, again, I don't think Mummy Paramount's going to be insane in our deck, so I will take the first Blur Blades. This card has done quite a bit. And I'm not playing another Firebrand Archer, so I'll go ahead and take Disposal Mummy for the sideboard. Even though, it does work better with Mummy Paramount, but we don't need a lot of work to make this. So, mediocre 2-drops, minus the Burnin' Fist, Minotaur, and then some pretty solid high-end stuff. And it looks like we will actually be playing this farm to market, even though I'm not going to go out of my way to make market work. Maybe if I pick up like a Stray Survivor's Encampment or something like that, then we might be able to cast Market, but Market's basically just Faithless Looting. You draw 2, discard 2, so it doesn't particularly do much. It's nice if you can cast it, but it's not the type of card where you're going out of your way to make it work. Wow, Appeal to Authority or Mummy Paramount. This card is just insanely strong. I feel like taking it here, but again, the colors are swapped. I just don't care too much about these. There were 2. If this one came back, the other one probably came back. I'm actually going to take it because it's better enough than the other ones. I'm not going to play Granitic Titan, so we'll take the bad mill card. Granitic Titan's just not what I'm looking for. And actually, it's probably the pick, right? Even though it's probably not going to make the deck. It's a fine card. I'm just not looking to play it in like a low to the ground aggro deck. So what we're looking to pick up here is maybe a Dauntless Haven, because it's very good with our Exert creatures. Again, more removal. See, that whole pack, we didn't see really any red or white removal. And that's because, like, your white removals, Desert's Hold and Sandblast. Your red removals, Open Fires and Puncture and Blows. And those are all, like, high picks. So you just don't get removal late in this set. Or if you do, like, that color's wide open. So starting off with Farm to Market seems kind of weird, because it is a color-specific removal spell, but I don't know. We just coincidentally got paid off that white and red are fairly draftable in this draft. And getting that one Desert's nice, too. We didn't pass up much. Like, most of our picks were over extra Mummy Paramounts. I would love to find a way to make this work in my deck, but I'm not going to be drafting, like, Manoliths or anything like that. So I don't know, we could get like a Sheltered Sheltered Thicket, the red-green cycle land in pack 3. But in this sort of deck where you just want to be jamming with your creatures, this does a lot. Obviously, if I was green-white, I no doubt would be playing it. And I also think that one of them came back and the other didn't is kind of weird. But whatever. We could have had 2 more Mummy Paramounts in my deck. And I'll be looking to cut Firebrand Archer, even though, it's a 2-drop. Like, if I end up needing 2-drops, this is better than, like, just a vanilla 2-2. I'm not even sure that statement's true. Like, there are a lot of ways to punish 1-toughness creatures. And Burnin' Fist Minotaur is just, like, leaps and bounds better than Firebrand Archer. Not sure what's going on with this pack. All right, let's see. Ooh, Pride Sovereign. Okay, so foil Pride Sovereign. All right, there's like nothing in this pack for us. And we already have a green-white card that's very strong. Unfortunately, we're majority red, so I think I'm going to take Pride Sovereign here, mostly because we just don't want anything, and look to pick up a couple mana fixers. Like these two cards right here would be great, but Pride Sovereign is insanely strong. And I think having that plus Appeal to Authority goes a long way in my deck. So this might be the first time I'm actually gearing towards 3 colors. If this was like if I was heavy white, I'd be much happier. Like I could cut the red, but I actually only have 4 white cards and majority red cards. So we'll see how this draft shapes up. But Pride Sovereign is probably one of the best rares in this entire set. It's a 2/2 that gets +1/+1 for each other cat you control, but it exerts to make more cats. What? Okay, this card's bad though, so we're not going to take it. We have Unconventional Tactics, which would be much, much better if I'd taken those other Mummy Paramounts, even though I think it's a solid card, even if you have 2 or 3 zombies in your deck. There's Haven of Enduring Hope, which is close to our pick, and then there's Survivor's Encampment and Manolith. Survivor's Encampment's kind of weird fixing for Appeal to Authority because you have to tap one of your creatures down, which is not what you want to be doing the turn you want to smash. There's also another Magmaroth, which is very strong, but I do think I want to pick up one of these pieces of mana fixing here because I do want to play these 2 cards. And I'll probably play a Traveler's Amulet in this deck. So I'm thinking Survivor's Encampment, mostly for the Pride Sovereign. I just don't really want to spare Manolith in my deck. So we'll go and take this. It's another desert, too, if we get some sort of payoff. Ooh, a Dorn Pouncer and Steward of Solidarity and Sandblast. Wow. So white is open, or at least the person took an uncommon here. I don't think there are any white uncommons I would take over a Dorn Pouncer. Maybe Desert's Hold, but a Dorn Pouncer is strong. It's a 2-mana 1/1 double striker, but it eternalizes for 5 and comes back as a 4/4 double striker. Steward of Solidarity is what we want to be doing with like Appeal to Authority. Also, it's a cat. So yeah, our weird Naya deck here is going to add a pretty strong card to it. Don't want the second Survivor's Encampment. That's not what we're looking to do. So Saving Grace, I've been super impressed with. Desert of the True, another Mummy Paramount, a cat because we could, and that's about it. Between basically these 3. I don't think I want a bunch of Mummy Paramounts because we're not actually a zombie deck, and that card is not as good if you're not triggering it multiple times. Could take the Desert here. Cyclone Deserts are great, but I think I'm going to take Saving Grace and hopefully show off how powerful this card can be. Ooh, Desert's Hold, nice. And a third Magmaroth. So many Magmaroths. Yeah, I'm definitely taking Desert's Hold here. It's just good. It's basically removal. It's an arrest, plus you gain 3 life if you have a desert somewhere. But it's exactly what we're looking for. Removal, good removal too. Like this is pretty strong compared to something like Sandblast. Right now, you can see though, like Blur of Blades isn't always removal, and then we've got these 2 cards. Yeah, white is definitely open. Sunscourge Champion's a solid card here. Not as good in red-white, where you want to be beaten down because the body's not like huge and threatening or anything, but it goes a long way in the game towards gaining you extra life and winning in a race. So it's a solid card. It's better in like slower white decks, which there aren't very many slow white decks here. There's also a Lethal Sting and just 2 off-color deserts, so I don't like Steadfast Sentinel, and I'm not taking a Paramount for the same reasons I mentioned for the last 5 Paramounts that came up. Interesting pick here. We could go Unconventional Tactics or Ceradon. I think I just want Ceradon here as a curve topper. It's pretty solid if we can set up a turn with these other guys. I am really hoping to get a Traveler's Amulet here. It's not something I say very often. 4 cards for us. Oketcher's Last Mercy, not something I'm interested in. I think I mentioned that last time the card came up. I'm going to take a different color desert here. And we're set on deserts. Hostile Desert, probably not. So my pick's between these 2, and I think I'm going to go with the Wall. Even though Wall's not going to do very much in this deck. Maybe Steadfast Sentinel. Hostile Desert just doesn't seem like it does enough in our deck. We only have 2 Cyclone lands. We're not going off sacking lands or anything like that. Yeah, we'll go with Steadfast Sentinel. It's just a creature we could put in the deck if we need to. Another crack at Granitic Titan. That's why I didn't take the first one. How about Unconventional Tactics? I only have 1 zombie to get it back. Eternalized creatures can get it back too, but those usually cost a lot of mana anyway. I don't think this is the deck that wants this, although it is pretty sweet with a Dorn Pouncer, and it's probably still better than Granitic Titan. It can get cut if we need to. I do like getting this Gideon's defeat back. That's sweet. We'll take a Paramount here. In fact, that Paramount's a better pick now that we have, what's it called? I'm not playing God Pharaoh's Faithful, so I'm actually going to take Liliana's defeat because we could potentially board that in having this Survivor's Encampment. And we did not get back that Traveler's Amulet, so hoping to get Evolving Wilds then. Deck looks solid. I need probably one more way to splash green before I'm happy having these cards in my deck, because Survivor's Encampment and a Forest on its own is going to leave us dead in the water some amount of the time. If we had a way to discard, we could be happy with Appeal to Authority as is, but I don't see any ways to discard in our deck. Tormented Voice is a way to discard, but not a card that I'm happy to play. Bad rare. Gravedigger's probably just the best card in this pack. Looks like we're going to be sniping up Binding Mummy here and passing on Winged Shepherd and Sparring Mummy, which aren't exciting cards. Having more 2-drops is fine. It does let us cut the Firebrand Archer, but this is a pack where if I had like an Evolving Wilds or a Mana Fixer, I'd be happy taking it. Oh, Honored Crop Captain. Double green's not going to work out for us, even though it's a cap. It's a cap. But Honored Crop Captain is bonkers good here. Unwavering Initiate and potentially Fling. Blazing Volley's actually become a pretty solid sideboard card against decks that want to be playing like a bunch of 1/1s and tokens. That's an easy Honored Crop Captain. If I had an easier splash, I would take Kenra Charioteer, but I think I'm leaning towards this Emberhorn Minotaur. Even though another Binding Mummy seems great, but Emberhorn Minotaur works with my 2 Exert guys. Oh, I just realized Pride Sovereign works with them too. I can Exert Pride Sovereign and tap a creature with Vizier of the True. That's pretty bonkers. Yeah, Kenra Charioteer would be like an absolute pick here. I'm not seeing good mana fixing coming. In fact, I'm not seeing any, but I'd probably snap an Evolving Wilds here and feel pretty comfortable about playing the 2 green cards. Glorious End. Ha 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 ha. No, not today. So this ends the turn, but you lose on your next turn. This card's solid, but not for us. All right. Do we want another Binding Mummy? A Pathmaker Initiate. I don't think we want a Fling here. Fling's good with Magmaroth, but in these big guys. I think Retcrop Spearmaster is what I want, right? Another Exert creature. No, we don't have, like, anything to untap our Exert creatures, but they're just good. Yeah, we'll take the most aggressive card in the pack. God, Binding Mummies for days. And, like, 18 blue cards. Binding Mummy it is. Tawcrop Elite. That's late. That is a late Tawcrop Elite. It's coming in. Jarrow's Resolve would be fine in this deck. I don't like Pursuit Glory very much, even though I probably have the deck where it's fine. Start to Finish. Wayward Servant. Those Who Swerve. And Vizier of Remedies. This is a good sideboard card, but not interested in playing it here. I have a bunch of 2-drops. Start to Finish might just be fine. Like, Start's okay on its own, not amazing. But it is okay if I'm trying to go wide, and if I ever draw my Survivor's Encampment, I can actually cast Finish, which is nice. So I like this. My deck looks like a hodgepodge. Maybe, like, we probably shouldn't be playing the green cards with just Survivor's Encampment, but I'm doing it. I'm getting greedy. Might have to put, like, 2 forests in. Because keep in mind, Survivor's Encampment can fix my other colors. So it gives me a little extra leeway. A 3rd Binding Mummy. Alright, I do like that. Yeah, I'm just not passing anything else. We're going to go and cut Firebrand Archer. Paramount. God, lots of 2-drops again. No Catcher's Avengers, though. Those cards are pretty important for this kind of deck. No Gust Walkers. We have 5 2-drop zombies, which actually leads me to one in this Unconventional Tactics as a way to like push through in the late game. But I don't know. When it comes to cutting cards, like the easy cuts are the 2 green cards, or at least the Appeal to Authority could go. Borer Blades I'll keep as a sideboard card and just look to beat down in game 1 and board it in when I think it's going to be good. Kindled Fury can probably go too. And then, oh, Steadfast Sentinel is definitely getting cut. This is 24 playables right here with a pretty nice curve and decent removal. Finish, I can't rely on as removal all the time, but having Desert's Hold plus Farm to Market's pretty nice. And yeah, white was open pretty much this whole draft. Notice that like red wasn't that open. I have not very many red cards that I didn't take in the first pack. Here I don't care too much about any of these. Probably just gonna be Spartan Mummies. Oh, well, actually, Spartan Mummy could be good in my deck. Lets me exert pretty freely. Winged Shepherd's very replaceable. Spartan Mummy's not great, but we'll consider it here. I don't think it's going to make the cut over a bunch of my other stuff. And yeah, it's another way to... It's not really like... It's kind of awkward when you have Sparring Mummy and like Binding Mummy, because you want to attack first to untap something, but you also want to play it before attack so that you can tap something with Binding Mummy. It's usually right to just play it out. Unwavering Initiate. Blaze and Volley is such a good sideboard card, but Horror Blades already kind of covers that, so I'll take the good 3-drop here and be pretty happy with it. We've got good creatures. I do think Kindled Fury is not going to make the cut here. This card only costs 3. I thought it cost 4. It only costs 3. Appeal to Authority can probably come out, as much as I hate doing that. Take Pursue Glory. I'll think about it. I don't think I need Pursue Glory when I've got other Anthem effects here. Yeah, I'm going to cut Appeal to Authority because my only green source is Survivor's Encampment, and having to tap one of my creatures down when I go for it is not really what I want to be doing. Although Authority is still very strong in my deck. Care 0 about all of these. Pursue Glory is not going to make the cut. I am going to keep Pride Sovereign in, though. It's very good in my deck. It makes tokens, which goes quite well with all of my mass pump effects, all 2 of them. And I don't know, like, this can just take over a game if your opponent can't deal with it right away. It's going to be a little awkward to get it online, but that's what we signed up for. All right, so, oh, and the full art, wow, amazing. Okay, now let's go ahead and sort. It's also, I just like having the Survivor's Encampment because I do have 2 Aftermath cards that I would like to be able to cast, even though I'm really only interested in the first part. I mean, that's less so true than with Start to Finish, which just has a very good Aftermath portion. But we only have 1 Desert Payoff. That's not true. We have Desert's Hold, but you don't need the Desert Payoff for that to be good. Gilded Ceradon's only really good if you have the deserts, but having 3 deserts here is solid. So this is 25 cards. This is definitely a 16-card deck, 16 land deck. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 2-drops. Could probably cut one of those or cut the Kindled Fury. And Sparring Mummy, I think, is good in my deck. Imagine the turn where you go like Pride Sovereign, untap it with Sparring Mummy. Unconventional Tactics, Sunscourge, Ret Crop, Desert's Hold. I'm leaning towards like just cutting a Binding Mummy, but having now 6 zombies in my deck seems good. Is there something that's just better than Sparring Mummy, though? Like, Boar of Blades would be fine. Firebrand Archer's not good in my deck. I have a very low spell count. Pursue Glory would probably be okay. Disposal Mummy is whatever. Let's go ahead and cut the, what was I just talking about? Oh, Kindled Fury. Because we have lots of ways to get past our opponent anyway, and we'll just be sad that we're not playing Appeal to Authority. But again, like I said, you want to go for this with a huge team of creatures, and having to tap one of your creatures down for the Survivor's Encampment is a little underwhelming, even though it's still probably good because Appeal, I feel like I'm going to get a lot of bodies on board, and Appeal should be very good there. So we're going to go ahead and play. We have majority white. We probably want to be heavy white here, actually. Yeah, wow, we only have 6 red cards. That's crazy. So, with that being said, like, I could actually go a little heavier. I could do probably 9 white sources. Um, I only have 2 things that need red on turn 2. 9 red sources. Um, or I'm sorry, 9 white sources. 6 red sources would put me at 15, and then a single green source. Hmm. All right. Well, it's definitely going to be an island. No, thank you. I don't want the basics. If I had Evolving Wilds, I would consider one, or at least the swamp. Um, and they're just like, no green. They don't want me to play my Pride Sovereign. That's funny that they went with the Aftermath stuff, but didn't give me anything there. So this would be 15, 16 lands. And then I cut a mountain for the desert. I cut a plains for the desert. And I have 4, 8, 9, 10 ways to make white mana. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 ways to make red mana. 2 ways to make green mana. But it's very important that I have my white mana, very obviously, right? Not to mention, like, these 2 Aftermath cards are also white. I only have 7 cards in the deck that don't need, or that need something besides white mana. So this is going to go ahead and be the deck. I'm reasonably happy with it. This is a greedy splash, but I think it's worth it. And yeah, we'll go and submit with this. See you guys in the games. Oh, I just realized we have 41 cards. I didn't cut something for Survivor's Encampment. So I do think, do we cut another mountain? That would put us at only 6 red sources. I think that's right, though. Well, 9 white sources is probably enough. And I do need red for some of my cards. So 9 white sources. All right. That being said, thanks for watching. I will see you guys in the matches.